Let's just say that Kaiju number 8, episode 9 was a certified banger. Before this big red biatch transformed into an even bigger version. That was so cool. And I think most of us, seeing the tease after last week's episode, flying in on some wyvern looking KFC, you knew the dude was gonna be packing a meat punch. And who better to receive said punch than the badass known as Vice Captain Hoshina. And to be honest, there was no way did we, like, this character just looks too cool. Like, let's be 100%, this character looks too cool to die. Or maybe I guess I should say he looks too cool to die just for right now, because from what we understand about the namings conventions of Kaiju is that, like, they pretty much name the ones that get away. So I'm like, oh man, this thing's gonna get away, 100%. But then we start seeing some very sneaky maneuvers from him, going in between, like, the crevices of, like, the weakest parts to start slashing, and then unleashing your super moves, exposing the core. It looks like we get the W, and then it becomes Godzilla mutation. And I'm like, the way this show can just continue to impress me in the simplest of ways, but in such an effective way. And I think a big part of it is that the MC doesn't fit in your traditional MC role for what would be normally a shonen fight scene. The fact that, yeah, he does transform a little, but it's because he needs to enhance his legs in order to save a girl. His main skill set is intel and tactics and knowing a lot of things that many people wouldn't know. And that is a very valuable tool to have, and there are going to be cases where he has to transform fully, of course, but the fact that you don't let your MC rely on that as his crutch for his character makes him so much more interesting just right away, and then in return it lets all these other characters have these badass moments like Shinomiya coming in with a giant great axe to start clobbering fools. Like, this was awesome. I have full live reactions to all these wonderful episodes of Kaiju number 8 over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full link of thought to this or any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, something I'm really excited for, and hopefully it's not going to be the first and last time we see it, is personal weapons. We already can kind of assume that our Vice Captain has a personal weapon via his, like, short swords that he uses. But now that she also has, like, this vibrating great axe of death, it makes total sense, and I really appreciate that they didn't just go the generic, she has a big sword route, because at the end of the day, if you're gonna fight a lot of giant kaijus, do you want a sword, or do you want something that's going to cleave off limbs? I think I'd go with option B. And the different maneuvers of it, and how, like, she was increasing speed and force, and just rupturing fools was so cool. Now, we can already look at Reno as an example and be like, okay, he's really into ice-based attacks, right? So maybe they'll do something cool where he has a personal type of gun or something like that, or something based around ice would be my expectations. But for a prototype, that thing was packing a mean wallop. No other way to put it. And the fact that it didn't feel, I don't know, like, I feel like these types of shows, and it usually doesn't bother me, but I noticed it more when it doesn't happen, and I'm like, oh, this would have went this way in, like, any other author's hands, so it immediately becomes more interesting. Like, you don't realize why it's more interesting until you really start to break it down. And what I mean is, okay, either the MC, so in this case Kafka, would be using his gimmick of transforming into a kaiju to always be the main reason they win. Or there's a badass like Vice Captain Levi over here cutting fools up without maneuver gear. And everyone else is just kind of like, they're shooting, but they're not doing too much. But you don't get that impression at all in this episode. Everyone was doing something, and everyone was valuable. At one point, there's like this soldier, I don't know the name of, just some random guy, slides across the wall in behind like this thing because they're trying to shoot underneath the backside, and then he gets propelled. And I'm like, you didn't need to go that cool for a character that wasn't like the MC. And just the fact that between the, okay, we have Reno on the ground, he's doing the freezing, the distracting with the others, and then she's coming in clobbering, it's just like, it was a team effort, and that's the big thing. It actually feels like a team. That yes, we have a character who can transform into a kaiju, and as we see, he realizes, I'm not gonna run there in time, I have to transform my legs, get her to safety, and she's like, oh, you finally learned how to use your suit? Absolutely, 100%. I like this about this show. This show is more than just clobbering big kaijus. It really is. And the fact that it could just be that and be fun for a season's worth of content, 100%. I mean, there's literally Godzilla, Kaiju level movies that I've seen that I ain't gonna write home about the script, but frick is it fun. But there's something so great about the cast dynamic and how immediately our vice captain, as soon as our boy starts talking, Kafka's like, hey, this is this type of thing, and this is, it reminds me of this from so many years ago. He immediately pays attention because he respects him. There's a reason why he gave him 1% of his brain capacity in terms of memories, because this character is interesting to him. And when it came to the main star attraction, which was, of course, the vice captain's fight, he's a badass, man. Like, he adjusts on the fly. Things happen, and he's immediately just redirected, and he's, composed. There's no other way to put it. He's completely composed. And when he starts slashing, and just like, the fact that I think my favorite thing about the fight is that, unlike a lot of these shows as well, characters will stand around and talk, and there's always an opportunity for a sneak attack. Our boy almost immediately gets jumped, and if he didn't dodge with that other guy, they both would have been splattered. And there's so many moments where it's like, oh, he's finished regenerating. He doesn't like start talking like, oh, that was, no, like he's talking shit as he's regenerating. And then after he's done, he just immediately tries to kill him again. It's just like things happen so quickly without the ability to really readjust. And I appreciate that because then it doesn't make things feel like gimmicks. You add in that banger of an OST, just constantly throughout the episode, all these different tracks playing just was hype as hell. The animation, I mean, there's so many opportunities for the most generic looking 3D beast, and everything remained hand-drawn. And the way they incorporate 3D cameras with 3D shots, of course, because there is 3D, it's just blended so seamlessly. But the core, like, character models aren't, and that's just impressive given the actual complexity to these character models. Next week can't come soon enough, because this was incredible. I really love this show. It's the most enjoyable and entertaining show for me of this season, and I really hope they're gonna just confirm season 2 when this is over, because yeah, we do have 3 more episodes to go, which I'm thankful for, but I need to see where the story is gonna go, because I am loving Kafka's journey, I'm loving the supporting cast in general, and just when you think you have a new favorite kaiju, or this kaiju's really cool, insert this big red bitch, and I hope he lasts, but then I hope we kill him. It's like a conflicting thing. You want to see him gone, but then you want to see him live because he's so cool, but it's like, if he lives, so many characters are going to die, and I'm still worried about who will be the first death, and I don't know who my pick is, but someone eventually dying, and I just know it's going to hurt. Let me know what you thought down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alrighty, so today we have Edwin, Dan Yang, Hackett Bard, True Obelisk, and JR the God 69. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.